Alright, so you turn the computer on, and then you just click on something or hit a button, it'll come up password, and it's going to be Rabbit GTI, enter, and you're going to go to Trimble Fab. You got all this, Kenny?
I'm trying to click the move and get it to where you get just the screen here, so it's kind of...
Alright,
Alright, good.
Trimble Fab.
Trimble Fab.
Alright, so this is an old ticket, but we'll just use it as whatever. So let's just say we're adding to a job. So click on the job. You know, this folder is going to pop up. It's going to say create a new job or catalog, which is going to be...
Do you want to create a new job and just call it training or something?
Yeah, you can do that.
Fitting off there, just so I
So we'll just go create a new job, which is this first folder, and we'll just put your name. We'll just say Joe, and put the account number is 1234. That's just going to be your job number, whatever they give you. Description, I don't put anything in there. This stuff all stays the same. This is your default specifications and whatnot. So basically, your pressure settings and all your notching and everything is going to be already in there.
Okay.
Just hit OK, and then this second one will light up. You see you're in Joe now.
Okay.
So you're going to hit this. Now this is, so say someone sends you a ticket. So the ticket will be, you'll enter in this one. So highlight whatever job you're working on. So we'll say Joe, and then now we're going to enter a ticket. So create a new job or catalog is what it's going to say.
Uh-huh.
Click that. It's going to come up this. So the job name, this one doesn't have a job name, so it looks like all fourth floor suites. So we'll just say fourth floor ties, okay?
Okay.
Your account number is already going to pop up, which is your job number. Description, like I said before, that's going to be your pressure class. So 35001 is medium to high pressure. 35002 is low pressure. So we're going to do this as low pressure. Do 35-002 and hit tab. Your fitting standards will stay the same. That's all default, like I said. That's all the stuff that's already I programmed in, the notching, flanges, all that stuff. Pressure, so we're working on low pressure. Just hit L, low pressure. It's going to say 0 to 2 inch.
If it's medium, you just hit L.
Yep. If it's medium, and just hit medium, it'll say 3 to 4. High, you know, is 6 inch and above, which I have never done anything high pressure yet.
Okay.
So let's say low pressure. We'll tab down. We're using galvanized. The liner, it's, like I said before, it's all going to be 1.5 pound if we're using liner, but we're not today, so no liner. Then go down here. That's going to enter your liner if you are using liner. So
0.
yeah, 0.15 or 1 inch if you're whatever you're using for liner. So we're using nothing. These will stay the same. That's just going to give you. So what this date does, it's going to put a date on the sticker, and it's going to put a date on the printout for up front for the accounting.
The
okay?
date automatically updates?
Yep.
Okay.
So it'll go with whatever your computer is under. Actually, this says Wednesday the 11th, and this is the 12th. So I don't know. I never changed that. So I mean, that really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to them
Okay.
either. So and then for stickers, pick your color. We'll use green, and then just use OK. This is, you don't have to change. These are the labels that I had set up. So it'll use. There's like a couple different labels, like the standard ones and the ones that they already have programmed in there. But the ones we use will always be there, just as miles. And then this stuff will stay the same. You don't do anything on this side. Just click OK. So that now will come up here. So that's your ticket name. And now this thing popped up after you make your new folder. You're going to press that to add new fittings. And then this is all your standard fittings. This is all what we use. And if you need something that's not on there, it's rectangular, you go in there, you find it, click on it, curbs, anything like that. Your unit stand boxes are just a closed box. And then, you know, you can go from there. Same with round. If you need to make pair of pants or something that we don't usually make, you know, it'll be in here. Same with the oval nested fittings. Special. So in special, the only thing I use in special is this right here, this 802, and that's going to be parts. So as far as parts go, this is going to be stuff like those plates I made for you that you were using for the floor.
Yeah.
You know, plus or minus or whatever layout is, or stencils will all be in here. So all these stencils that we usually use, I have the size of whatever the numbers or letters are going to be, and then like kitchen exhaust or anything like that. So if you need something, let's say, 1-inch numbers. So your 1 inch, let's do 2 inch. So 2 inch, it'll say 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you double click, it'll pop up, and that's going to be your stencil.
What if you want to make a new one?
A new stencil is difficult to do, which I'll show you that too.
Do that later.
Yeah. So yeah, you put your gauge in. Most of the stencils that we use or you're going to need are going to be in here somewhere. But yeah, you put your gauge in, hit OK, and that'll pop up in there, but we don't want that. So we'll go to standards. So the first fitting is a transition. So this is the transition. So bottom numbers, 14, enter, 14, top, 14 by 14. Your length, 6 3/4. Offset is going to be 3 inches. So on this, when they're both the same top and bottom, it doesn't matter which side you put it on. I always try to do it on the side that, you know, they have drawn.
Yeah.
So it's going 3 inches to the right. So you're going to go negative 3 inches. It's going to pull you that way. All right. So if you just put 3, that's going to push you in the other way.
I got you.
And you see, since the numbers are the face is the same, it's going to go negative or positive the same on either side. But if you had, you know, 16 on the bottom and 14 on top, it's going to change that. So that's why you want to always...
That's why you always wanted the tickets drawn like that.
Correct. So if you say 16, now you see if I do negative 3 on this side, it's only going to be 1 inch on that side. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you just... I always try to do, whether I know it's going to be the same or not, I always try to do it on the side that's drawn, just to be safe, no fuck ups. So let's go 14 by 14, all around. Our length is 6 3/4. We want negative 3. So now this input is going to be either top or bottom, so whatever your top or bottom's doing. He wants bottom down 6.5. So you want to go your bottom, you want down 6.5. So you're going to go negative 6.5. Okay, and that's going to make your top automatically go down because the side, the rails are the same also. Now, if you just did 6.5, that's going to bring you up 6.5. That's your input. Is you're inputting on the bottom. So
Oh, and that even tells you the bottom.
right. So I always double check everything after. So let's say he wants the 6.5 down. So negative 6.5, and then I'll hit enter. And that's just, these numbers are if you want any straight on the end of it. So like you want to put a fire damper in the top of it. You need 8 inches of straight. You put there, which you can't do in a slip and drive because it won't run through the machine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it won't be straight. It's going to be
straight.
correct, which is the easiest way to do it. Or you have to do lap and rivet or something like that. So then you're going to go over, low pressure is always going to give you snap lock, medium pressure is going to give you large Pittsburgh. Segmenting always stays large standing no matter what, you don't have to change that. Slip and drive is going to be automatically entered in the fitting. So if you need something like this one's asking for a 1 inch flange on the bottom. So your bottom, you're going to go I'll just do it in the drop down. You're going to look for flange 1 inch or 1 inch flange. Some of them are labeled different, but just look for flange 1 inch. And it's good. We're going to keep that. Top's going to stay slip and drive. But he's got, when you punch these in, it's always going to put the drives on the short side.
Okay.
But if they're the same size, see this one's 14 by 14, it always puts the drives on the rail side.
Gotcha.
Always. So if he wants to drive on the top. So you just go in here, hit reverse. Now if you look at the picture, it'll show you where the drives are. And also you can take your mouse and you can move it around to see where you're at. Now if you want to highlight a different area, so this right now I think it highlighted the back. I remember before I started spinning it. You would hit this button for your preview, which is what this is, preview of your fitting, and it'll change. So this is all highlighted,
Yeah.
none. 1, 2, 3, or 4 of the 4 sides of the fitting.
And 1 is always the side facing you?
1, I think, is always the back.
Oh, 1 is always the back?
Yes. And then you can look for that. I barely ever used this.
Can you put it back to like the standard, or did you?
It'll change. Well, it only changes when you're doing one fitting at a time. When you go to the next fitting, it'll go back to number 1, no matter what.
Okay.
All right. So then you just hit enter. It'll take you to the next thing. You're going to use galvanized. The only time you're going to change that is if you're doing black iron or stainless or something like that, which is, probably barely ever.
Yeah.
Down here, your auto gauge is already going to go. So it auto gauges on pressure and size. So if I was at medium pressure, say 24 by 24, it would go probably to 22 gauge, I would assume. So you don't have to worry about changing your gauges. It auto gauges for you.
Okay.
Same thing with the liner. If you're doing liner, you'd put in 1.5 pound, because it's always 1.5 pound is your density, and then your thickness is 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 2 inch, and so on, whatever you're using.
Yeah.
So, most transfer elbows are 1/2 inch, or, whatever that is.
Yep.
Quantity is just how many of the fitting you're going to want or need. Comments are all, if you need a hem, you need duck sealed, cross broke, crimp and bead on a round, KD, all that stuff's going to be in your comments. And then in your instructions is just a note to yourself, or so what I would use on this one is he's got them all separated by room number. So this would be room 117 or 417, and then that's it. You're done with it. But before I hit OK, I go back and look over the whole fitting. So 14 by 14, 14 by 14, 6 3/4. Your offset to the right is -3, so we're good there. Bottom down 6.5, so bottom down 6.5, so we're good on that. Then I go over and make sure I got the flange, I got the drive on the right side, and that's it. Then you just hit OK. And then you start your next fitting. So we'll go to the next one. It's the same, or transition. Now, if you're doing all the same, mostly the same size, it'll pop up right away. So
Okay.
once you first open it, it's going to have zeros everywhere. So you're going to have to enter your sizes. And all the fittings will pop up right away as 12 inches, because that's our standard, usually our standard in fittings. So,
Yep.
so this one, 14 by 14 on the bottom, 16 by 14 on top, your length 11, your offset to the right 5.5 inches, so go right -5.5, and this is going to be a center line, so you don't have to worry about top or bottom. Click over. Your snap block's going to be the same. Your drives are on the short sides or on the rails, so you're good there. You don't have to change anything. Your gauge is already set. Everything else is good to go, so that fitting's done. Piece of pipe, double click. Piece of pipe, you want a 14 by 14, 7.5 inches long. Automatically is going to do snap lock, slip and drive. Usually doesn't matter on pipe unless someone asks for drives on opposite side, then you'll have to reverse. Alright, pretty simple. So let's go to we do the canvas. So we'll go to canvas, square canvas, double click, 14 by 14. Now over here, it really doesn't matter because I always just do 1 inch lap. Now this will give the accounting, instead of, it's going to add to your canvas. So your length of your canvas, so it can be charged out in your accounting software. So I just do 1 inch. You're going to do slip and drive. It doesn't matter which side the drives are on because it's a square piece. And the only thing, this is easy for canvas. The only thing you got to worry about the canvas is when you actually make it, to add 2 inches on one side, 2 inches on the other, which we'll go over when we go out there. But so that's good. So we'll go to an elbow, 14 by 14. Top is 14. 14, 14, 14. Bottom throat, 4 1/4.